afternoon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about some of the important date fields in Primavera P6. If you right click on the column and if you click on the dates and you can see lots of different dates. So we don't need these dates all the time, but we need some of the significant date fields all the time to do our analysis properly. Okay, I have taken some of the important date that we need to look at uh, when we do the schedule updates. So usually we have the start date and the finish date, and then we have the early start, and then have late start. We have a planned start and the baseline project start. And also in finish dates, we have finish date, early finish, late finish, planned finish, and PL project finish. Okay, let's look at how these dates getting changed when we do the schedule updates. All right. So as a default in Primavera, the start dates and the finish dates is as is kept as default. So when an activity ha has an actual or the activity has started, you need to actualize this over here in the status bar. You have these fields started and finished. So you have to click on start and you have to this is a milestone. So for example, this one and you have to click on start and indicate the date. So that's the start date. And once the activity is completed, then you have to click on finish and you have to set up the finish date for that activity. So as a default, we do have these two different date fields. Uh, and also we have the early start, the earliest possible time that an activity start based on the network path and based on float calculation. And you have the late started, the latest possible time that an activity can start, the plan start, the BL project start. Okay, so BL project start is the date that you have in your baseline program. So once you created the schedule and you assign a copy of that schedule as a baseline. So when you keep updating your program, but baseline will not be changed unless you change your change control. So once you assign the baseline and you can see this baseline project start dates and finish date is your forecast finish dates. Okay. Uh, if you look at here in the status bar, you have also the expected finish date, and once an activity has started, and then you need to keep this expected finish date here and as same as your finish date. So that's how your remaining duration will work properly inside Primavera. So there's lots of dates, and so my aim is to understand how this total float is getting calculated when we do different changes across uh, the schedule that we created. Then we can change the constraint, we can change the baseline, we can assign the baseline and without assigning the baseline, and how this total float getting calculated, because we know the fundamentals of calculating total float, but you need to understand how this is being calculated inside Primavera. Okay. And also you need to understand total float is a measure of working days, not calendar days. Okay. uh, Primavera measures total float in working days, not in calendar days. Because once you get these dates finish, for example, late finish and early finish dates, so when you minus it, you will get the difference but in calendar days. Okay, but total float is calculated based on the um, working days, not from the calendar days. Okay, so I have created a small program with 5 activities, a simple one. The first thing that I'm going to do is, you see here the last activity. I don't have any constraint assigned to that. Okay, and you can see the total float is 0, and our data date is 1st January 23, and even we don't have any baselines. We don't have any baseline assigned to the schedule. Just keep it empty for the uh, first step, and I am going to run this into a different data date and see what happens to the total float and 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 the dates. Okay. Okay, before I do that, to be clear, to have an understanding, I just copy these dates and I open a new Excel sheet here. This, okay, so I will paste these date fields into this table, and also I don't need these high level data, even no, just keep that. Okay, and I will make this as a table. Okay, that will be easy. Right, so I'm going to keep in this format. All right, and next thing I'm going to do is um, uh, I'll keep this as the original one and make a copy of that. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I will do some magic. So I'm going to use some formula to see when we make changes and see how this is getting changed. Are there any changes? Okay, we have one, no, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we don't need this. So just drag these ones up to the dates. So that's okay. So you will have better understanding quickly as soon as we make the changes and export that data into Excel and just copy paste here, and you will see what date fields have been changed. Okay. All right. Let's start. Let's go back to Primavera. So my uh, data date is 1st January 23. I'm going to schedule this on into 1st February 23 and see what happens to the total flow. Okay. And remember, we have not taken a baseline and we haven't assigned a baseline. Even we don't have a must finish by date and we don't have any constraint assigned to this. Okay, so I'm going to schedule this one. All right, you see the total flow did not change at all. Okay, but if you control and copy, and if you go here and see, this is the original one, and just paste the numbers here. All right, see what has happened. Okay. And drag the same formula for this field as well. All right. Okay. So there is no changes to the total float, but the start date has been shifted by 30 days, 1 month. What is this? Okay, this is empty because of this is, I guess it's a milestone, construction 120. Um, Actually, there's a date, but for construction 1, start 1st January, that is start, have that, let's copy again, copy, yes, it is there. Okay, so let me, I don't know what happened, but let me go back, change the data date, schedule it, copy the data again, copy and paste it, so you got it. Okay, cool. All right, now we have, see what happened. We don't have baseline assigned, we don't have a constraint, we don't have must finish by date, nothing. It's just a copy of the schedule that we created. So what has been changed, right? Original duration we didn't change, remaining duration won't be changed, but the start date has been pushed by 1 month because we changed the data date. Early the start date also has been pushed by 1 month because we changed the data date. Late start date, okay, the late start date also have been pushed by 1 month, and the planned start date, baseline project start date, everything has been shifted by 31 days. Okay, and handover, obviously there is no start date because it's a milestone. And what happened here in this scenario, we don't have a constraint, and we are not telling Primavera, okay, you have to complete this project by this date. And when we keep changing the data date and everything gets shifted, Primavera doesn't store anything at all. Okay, and Primavera thinks that, okay, this is the date that I need to complete the project. If we um, change the uh, data date into March 1st of March 23, and all these early start, late start, plan start, plan finish, baseline, project start, finish, everything will be shifted accordingly. Primavera doesn't store anything with reference to anything because we haven't assigned a constraint, we haven't assigned a baseline, we haven't had a must finish by date. All right, so that is simple as that. So you understand now, if you don't have any constraint assigned to the project that we created, or we don't have a baseline date, or we don't have a must finish by date, anything, so Primavera just think that's the current snapshot is the baseline project or the current plan. So the date will work accordingly. Okay. All right. Step one. Step one. What I'm going to do is keep the same 1st of January 23 as the data date, but I am going to take, right. No, I think let's do something differently. Okay. So go back to the project view. Okay. And if you click on that project, there's a must finish by date. Okay, let's see what happens if we assign a must finish by date. Right. So what is the current completion date for this project is, if you go to the activities, so current finish date is 19th August 23. All right, we go back to the project and we're going to say, let's click the project and, okay, that will be 19th August 23. Okay, that's the must finish by date. And go back to the activities. So what we have done in this is in this scenario, we just assign the must finish by date, and just to understand what changes happen when we change the data date. Okay, let's change the data date to 1st of January 23. We change it to 1st of February 23, which is the next monthly update. Just imagine that you are doing the updates, uh, or just as a best practice, you can do one more thing before you do the scheduling. Go to the options and check all these scheduling options are correct. You're keeping the correct scheduling options. Use expected finish dates. Yes, that's why we need to keep, as I explained before, we need to keep the expected finish dates to calculate the remaining duration stuff correctly. And when scheduling progress activities use retained logic, uh, I'll explain later what these options are, but for now, just keep in mind you have to have retained logic in this scenario. Calculate early start date from early start, lag, critical path. You can define critical path. Here is the longest path as a critical path, but you can define critical activities as total float less than or equal to 0. Okay. Calculate float based on the finish date of each project and compute total float as finished float uh, from late finish minus early finish. And calendar for scheduling relationship like predecessor activity calendar. This is some default important scheduling option that you have to make. Just close it and then okay, press F9 or schedule it. Alright, just click it. Right. In this case, something has changed. Okay. Right. Let's see if you copy these, select all, and copy these. Go back to this is your original 1st January 23 dates, and just paste the values here. So what happened? Okay. So obviously the start date has been pushed by 30 days. We change the data date. Early start date also has been changed by another month. We change the data date. And late start date. Okay, some crazy dates. Two. Plan start date. So look at the plan start date. And plan start date has been shifted by 31 days. Yes, doesn't store anything. Even here. So if you go to late finish, 19 August. Okay, that's pretty interesting, and it has not been changed, right? The late start date and the plan finish date is changed, yes, and the PL project is finished is also changed, but the total float has been changed. That is by 31 days. The only field that has been changed is the late start, has not been changed is the late start and the late finish dates. All the other fields, the dates have been shifted according to the data date. So what we change is time just the project must finish by date. Okay. So in this case, you know, P6 has told its late start and the late finish date as per its original program with the original data date, which is 1st of January 23. because it's kind of it's kind of constraining the completion date by assigning the must finish by date. Okay. Mm, right. But I will explain you later once we've done all the scenario and what is the difference uh, for assigning a must finish by date and having a constraint. Okay. So Primavera has stored its late start and late finish date as per the must finish by date. Okay. Okay. It's kind of a final constraint to completion date, but there are some uh, issues, not really issues, but there are some uh, concern we have when we assign must finish by date to a program, to the project or a schedule. So we can talk that later. Uh, I will show you quickly one more thing here. If you go back to the pieces and if you go to the project view and so this is 19th August 23 and everything has been calculated accordingly. But you see here, and if you change the must finish by date to a different date and go back to the activities and do the scheduling with the same data date and gives it 11 days plus 11 days because we changed the must finish by date and we are saying P6 this project must be completed by so and so date and there's no negative floats because the must finish by date the uh, is after the project late finish date. Okay. The project late finish date is after the project forecast completion date. See, the must finish by date is is the 30th September 23, and that is the latest possible time the project can complete. So that's 30th September. So finish date is 19th September 23. So plus um, the 11 days of total float. Okay. So let's go back to the project. Keep as 19th August 23 as the original must finish by date. But this, the third scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the must finish by date. Okay, there is no must finish by date. Go to activities. So look back to the original data date. 23 there. But I'm going to constrain the milestone with finish on or before 19 August 23. Alright, and see what happens. Generally, so that's total float becomes 0 because this is finished on or before 19th August 23. Right, and so This time what I'm going to do is I assign a constraint, primary constraint and definition of before. There is no must finish by date, there is no baseline, and I'm going to schedule this one to a different data date, which is 1st February 23, and schedule it. Okay, we get negative minus 31, click all, copy, go here to Excel sheet and paste values. So what happened? Alright, it's the same thing. Um, like last time we did that for the must finish by date. It works exactly same as the must finish by date. You see, all the finish start date, early start date has been shifted, but the late start date has not been shifted because we have told Primavera that these projects need to be completed by 19th August 23. So accordingly, uh, P6 will calculate the uh, late start and the late start and late finish dates. But rest all the date gets shifted according to the data date. Okay. Baseline date has been shifted because there's no baseline assigned, and this time the total float is minus 31. Yeah, this minus 31 because data date has been uh, shifted by 1 month. So in this scenario, Primavera has stored its late start and late finish date according to the constraint date. Okay. Now in the next scenario, if you go back to P6 and bring it back this one to January 23, January total becomes 0. What I'm going to do in this, I will remove the constraint, but I will take a copy of this project as the baseline. So when you want to maintain the baseline, there's an option, two options pop up. One is save a copy of the current project as a new baseline, or convert another project to a new baseline of the current project. So what is we have to choose? In this case, is save a copy of the current project as a new baseline. Just click OK, and yeah, this baseline has been created. Close. Go project, assign baseline, and assign as project baseline, and also as the primary user baseline. Click OK. Okay. We assign the baseline with no constraint, no must finish by date, nothing, and see what happens in this case when we change the data date to 1st February 23 and schedule it. See, Primavera does not calculate the total float as per the baseline date. Okay, baseline is just a reference to the dates that these are the original dates that we have to work on, and these are the current forecast date. But the total float inside Primavera is calculating uh, based on the constraint that we assign. If you don't assign the constraint, Primavera will not know that this project need to be completed by so and so date. It assumes that okay, the current forecast date is the planned completion date. So if you copy in this one and put that date into our Excel sheet, and you can see the difference. See what has been changed, what has not been changed. Okay, the start date has been changed, that's okay. Early start has been changed, yes, because there's no constraint. Late start has been changed, yes. And plan start, yes, but the baseline project start has not been changed because we just assigned the baseline project start. And finish date, forecast finish date has been changed. Early finish, late start, late finish, plan finish, everything has been changed, but the baseline project finish is not changed because we assigned the baseline. and total float has not been changed, doesn't give any indication of the float because we have not constrained the milestones. Primavera does not know that the current copy of the basics that we are working on does not know that this project need to be completed by 19th of August 23. It just be stored as baseline this, but this copy of physics doesn't know about it. Okay, that's clear as mud. So that is good. We put that in Excel to understand how these different dates working. Now you know when we without any baseline must finish by date constraint how it works, and when we have must finish by date only constraint only baseline only all these scenarios how the dates has been changed. Okay, now is the final magic, and go back to Primavera and keep the data date as January, schedule it, bring it back to 0. All right. And this time, what we are going to do, so I already assigned the baseline, but also I'm giving a constraint to the milestone, the last completion milestone at 19 August 23, and this is the date that we are going to tell Primavera that okay, you must complete this project on or before 19th of August 23. Okay, let's keep that. Okay, just don't assign the must finish by date and just schedule the date program uh, to a different data date, 1st February 23, and schedule it. See, because we assigned the constraint and float has been changed. Go back to Excel, paste the data. Okay, remove this star mark, it doesn't calculate anything. So now see what has been changed, what has not been changed. Few. Alright? Yes. Start date has been changed, early start has been changed. Yes, it's obvious. When you change the data date, start date will be changed and it is the earliest possible start date. Late start date has not been changed. Planned start date has not been changed. Has been changed. Baseline not changed. Finish yes has been changed. Early finish, yes, that is the early finish is the current forecast finish date. That is the earliest possible time. But late finish is not changed. Late finish we set Primavera that need to be completed by 19th August 23. So accordingly, it will calculate the late finish days, not change. And planned finish, no. And PL project finish date, um, no, because we assigned the baseline, but the total float has been changed because we assigned the constraint. See in different scenarios and how these dates getting changed. Now, it's only thing you to understand how this plan start and plan finish date works inside basic. So it will be our next session. But before we close out, um, it's better to understand one more thing about dates. Um, uh, that is okay. We in this case we have the baseline assigned, we have the constraint assigned, but we don't have a mass finish by date. Okay, for our understanding, let's see what happens if we assign the mass finish by date. Hmm? All right. So go to Primavera, go to dates, bring it back to January date. Right. So bring it back to the original data date, 1st of January 23, and bring it back with float 0. But we have the constraint date as same as 19th August 23. What we are going to do in this case, we just assign the must finish by date as same as 19th January 23. And go back to activities, and we are going to um, change the data date to 1st February 23 and share it. All right, something has happened. So let's see Now, if you copy and go back to Excel and see what has happened, right? Okay, this one. Okay, I think it's the same. There's no change. This is some minor change. It's just maybe some, some bugs or anything. Can't figure out what happened, but just ignore that. But apart from that, this is not changed, not changed. Late start date, not changed because we assigned the constraint. And finish date, early finish date is set the same as finish date. Late finish date is not changed. We have both constraint and the must finish by date. Assign plan finish, plan start. Yes, it's changed, but the baseline project is not changed, but total float is changed at this point. All right. So that's clear. So we have both assigned to the program, and you can see what date has been changed and how Primavera store the dates. I want to show you uh, how in different scenarios how Primavera store their dates according to the constraint dates, must finish by dates, and the baseline dates, and how the total float is getting calculated. That's you have a clear understanding about what happens inside P6. And when the important fact is in when you do create schedules and you do your analysis and you go in to an audience to explain and what happened, and you have to make sense, you know, because you have to sometimes you have to speak in the scheduling language, but that needs to be converted into a language that understandable by the audience. So in that case, you need to understand what exactly happening inside P6. All right, there is another one. So I wanted to test. All right, let's bring it back to the original data rate, schedule it, bring it back to for 0. In this time, what I'm going to do, I will keep the constraint date as 19th August 23, but I'm going to change the must finish by date as 19th July 23. Let's see what's going to happen this time. All right, I'm changing this to a different data date and schedule. Okay, in this case, something has changed, but differently, really differently compared to the other options that we had for constraint and the must finish by. This is total float has been changed by 62 days. Why? Is because of we assigned the must finish by date as a month earlier. So that's why. So this is change. This is change. Early start, that's fine. Late start date is changed now. Okay, because it's get earlier date. When we say is 19th July 23, and Primavera automatically calculates its late start date as 30th November 22. Okay, that has been changed. Planned start date change, baseline project and baseline is not changed. Finish date is changed, early finish is changed, but late finish is also changed by 31 days because we brought forward the must finish by date. And that's why the total float has been calculated as 62 days. Okay. Okay. So the next one is this time what we did, we changed the must finish by date, which didn't change the constraint date. So let's again go back to the original date and schedule it because 31 days, because our must finish by date is July. So let's go to the project, click on project, come here and do 19th August and go back and schedule it. First item becomes 0. So this time what I'm going to do, I'm keeping the must finish by date as 19th August 23, but I'm going to change the handover date as 19th July 23. And I'm going to schedule this one into a different data type. Share it. Again the same. And we got 62 days. Okay. Copy, go back and paste as value. Sorry. And we have to paste it here, I guess. Yes. Oops. Okay. Let's copy this here and paste. Alright, so what has happened in this case? We changed the constraint date, we didn't change the must finish by date, but still early start by 31, only thing hasn't changed is the baseline date, but rest of all has been changed because we changed the constraint date and we go to 62 days. So we tested different scenarios and we understand how the different dates getting changed, how the total float is getting calculated. The only thing is, uh, so what is the importance of having the must finish by date and the constraint, which is most important, which is the key, the driving point for the calculating the total float, and which one is the must or which one is the should. That's the understanding we have to have. So in my next video, I'll do that. So in just this video, I'm focusing on how to uh, 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 how to assign different constraints to the schedule and see what changes is happening when we change the data date in different scenarios with respect to these constraint dates and the most finished by dates. Okay, I think that's enough, but let's uh, try to understand in my next video uh, about the most finished by date and the constraint assigned to the last milestone date. Okay, all right. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching and see you all with the next video.